The New England Patriots might have just discovered a hidden gem, and this is the kind of story that gets fans excited. Every year after the draft wraps up, there's a mad rush where teams hustle to sign undrafted free agents, hoping to find that one player who slipped through the cracks. A lot of these athletes were projected to go somewhere between the 5th and 7th rounds, but ended up not hearing their names called. That doesn't mean they're not talented. Sometimes it's just about fit, opportunity, or a few minor concerns that made teams hesitate. For these players, getting signed as an undrafted free agent can be the perfect second chance to prove themselves, often starting with a spot on the practice squad where they can develop, adapt to the NFL level, and show what they're truly capable of. Among all the names floating around after this year's draft, one stood out more than the rest, and that's C.J. Dupree, a tight end from Alabama. This guy has the kind of build you dream about for the position, standing at 6 feet 5 inches and weighing close to 260 pounds. You look at him and you immediately think NFL tight end. He's a big physical presence who can impact the game both as a blocker and as a receiver. There have been some concerns about his hands, and honestly, that's probably a big part of why he wasn't drafted. Scouts had him pegged anywhere between the 5th and 7th round, but at the end of the day, he slipped through. Still, there's no denying that he's the kind of player who fits perfectly into a system that values versatility. When you break down his game, what jumps out is his ability to block at a high level. Whether it's on the move, sailing the edge, or coming across the formation, in motion, he shows the kind of flexibility that offensive coordinators love. He can play in multiple spots, as an H-back, as an inline tight end, or even out in space if needed. He's not just a big body. He knows how to use his size and strength to create running lanes and protect his quarterback. That makes him a valuable asset, even if his receiving numbers don't jump off the page. Speaking of his stats, let's be honest, they're not flashy. During his time at Alabama, he recorded 32 catches for just a little over 400 yards and didn't find the end zone once. Before transferring to Alabama, he spent 2 years at Maryland where he actually showed a lot more promise, especially in his freshman and sophomore seasons. That early production was a big part of why Alabama wanted him in the first place. It shows that he's got the potential, even if the numbers at Alabama didn't tell the whole story. And when you look beyond the box score, you see a player who understands his role, embraces the dirty work, and has all the tools needed to grow into a much bigger contributor. His athletic testing also paints an interesting picture. His 40-yard dash time came in under 4.7 seconds, which is impressive given his size. He posted a vertical leap close to 35 inches and managed 32 reps of 225 pounds on the bench press. That's the kind of power and explosiveness you want in a tight end. He's a strong, athletic guy who brings a lot of raw physical talent to the table. Watching him at the combine and pro day events, it's clear he has the body, the strength, and the movement skills you want. The big question mark is still his ability to consistently catch the football. But he's not the type of player who's going to shy away from contested catches. He uses his frame well to shield defenders, can separate at the top of his roots, and he's not afraid to lower his shoulder after the catch to pick up extra yards. Another thing that stands out is how well he fits into zone blocking schemes. His footwork, balance, and ability to move laterally are really impressive for a guy his size. He's the kind of tight end who can line up in a bunch of different spots, in line, in the backfield, or even motioned across the formation, and still execute his assignments at a high level. Whether he's playing as a traditional wide tight end or moving around as an H-back, he shows that he understands the nuances of each role. That kind of versatility is gold for an offense that likes to keep defenses guessing. What's even more exciting is that he's not just an athlete, he's smart. Reports and coaches highlight his football IQ, and when you watch him play, you can see that he gets it. He reads defenses, understands blocking schemes, and knows how to find soft spots in coverage when asked to run routes. That intelligence is going to give him a real shot to stick around and carve out a role, even if he's starting from the practice squad. Of course, the biggest knock remains his receiving production. Ideally, you'd like to see a tight end coming out of a program like Alabama put up bigger numbers and show more consistency as a pass catcher. But the reality is that Alabama's system doesn't always showcase tight ends in the passing game. especially once tasked with as much blocking responsibility as he had. As we move forward, the Patriots tight end room gets really interesting. There are already a couple of reliable options, guys who have proven they can contribute. Then you add someone like Jahan Bell into the mix, another versatile player who's been discussed a lot, especially considering how the team experimented with him at different positions last season. That raises the question, how will the Patriots want to use Dupree? Will they keep him in a traditional tight end role and let him grow there? Or could they look to move him around and take advantage of his athleticism and versatility? One thing's for sure, nobody is saying he's going to come in and light the world on fire right away. He's not a guaranteed star, not an instant sensation. But if he gets the right coaching, if he buys into the system and puts in the work, there's a real chance he could become a meaningful contributor. It's always tough to find diamonds in the rough, but when you're pulling players out of a powerhouse like Alabama under a coaching staff as respected as theirs, you know you're getting someone who's been taught well and who's competed against top-level talent. I'm not suggesting that CJ Dupree will immediately turn into a Pro Bowl tight end. That would be unfair. But with the right development, there's no doubt he could become a major asset for this team. Size, athleticism, football IQ, and work ethic. He checks a lot of the boxes you're looking for. That's why I'm excited to see how he progresses. Tight ends who can block, move, and eventually develop into better pass catchers don't grow on trees. Dupree's path might take some time, but the foundation is there. You can see the flashes on tape, and it's just about putting it all together consistently. When you see a player like this with all the physical gifts and the mental understanding of the game, you have to believe there's a real opportunity for growth, especially in a system that knows how to maximize tight end talent. He's got the size, he's got the strength, and if he sharpens his receiving skills, he could surprise a lot of people. The Patriots clearly see something in him, and honestly, so do I. There's a long way to go, but the potential is obvious. Now it's just about whether he can put it all together on the field. As we shift the focus, another interesting dynamic comes into play when we look at the rest of the tight end group on the roster. Right now, there are a few players who bring stability and reliability, but the landscape is still wide open for someone like CJ Dupree to carve out a meaningful spot. Jahan Bell has been a major point of discussion because of his unique versatility. Last season, there were even conversations about whether he could transition into an entirely different position, and we saw glimpses of that experimentation during certain practices. That opens up so many possibilities for a creative coaching staff. If they decide to keep Bell moving around the formation, it could make room for Dupree to take on more traditional tight end responsibilities and solidify a role for himself based on his strength as a blocker and his potential as a pass catcher. Now, I'm not sitting here guaranteeing that CJ Dupree is about to shock the world and dominate right away. That would be unrealistic. What I do believe, though, is that if the Patriots commit to developing him, they might uncover a serious contributor down the road. Development is the key word here. Sometimes the NFL is all about patience and putting players in the right situation, where they can grow without being overwhelmed by immediate expectations. Dupree's background at Alabama under a highly respected coaching staff suggests that he has been exposed to the right culture of discipline, work ethic, and competition. That matters a lot when you're trying to project a player's future. It is important to remember that just because he did not post massive receiving numbers does not mean he cannot become a reliable option down the road. Players evolve, and sometimes tight ends develop into stronger pass catchers after a few years. In the league, blocking is an art form in itself and something that often gets overlooked when people talk about tight end play. A guy who can stay on the field because he is trusted to block will always have a chance to catch more passes as he gains the trust of the coaching staff. CJ Dupree already has a significant head start in that area because of how well he blocks. Combine that with his high football IQ, and you have a player who can adapt to complex offensive schemes, adjust to different formations, and execute with precision. Watching his tape again, it is hard not to notice the little things he does that do not show up in the stat sheet. His positioning on running plays, the way he chips defenders before releasing into his route, his awareness of defensive shifts, these are subtle but critical parts of playing tight end at a high level. You can tell he has been well coached, And that gives him a real advantage over a lot of undrafted free agents who are just relying on raw athleticism. The Patriots' current situation also adds an extra layer of opportunity. After the draft, they made some cuts, releasing 6 players, including a wide receiver who'd been drafted back in 2023. This receiver actually appeared in all 16 games during his rookie year and even started 1 game at left guard, which is an unusual transition. Unfortunately, injuries derailed his second season, and with the influx of new talent, the team had to make some hard decisions. That is the nature of the NFL: constant turnover, constant evaluation. What makes this particularly relevant to Dupree's situation is the fact that the roster is clearly in a period of flux. Young players are going to be given chances, but they have to seize them. Practice squad spots are precious, and every snap matters. For Dupree, the opportunity is there if he can stay healthy, continue refining his technique, and show that he is reliable, not just in flashes, but every single day. Another player to keep an eye on is Kyle Williams, a wide receiver the Patriots picked up with a 3rd-round pick this year. This guy is electric. He brings legitimate deep speed and can stretch the field vertically in ways that force defenses to respect the deep ball. It is going to be really exciting to watch how he integrates into the offense, because his skill set brings a dimension that the team was missing last season. With Williams on the field, defenses will have to back up a little, and that could open up a lot of underneath opportunities for tight ends like Dupree, especially if the Patriots start leaning into play action. Concepts more heavily. Of course, the wide receiver room is getting crowded. Stephon Diggs, M. Hollins, Keyshawn Boutte, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, Kyle Williams, Kendrick Bourne. That is a lot of bodies competing for limited spots. Last season, the Patriots carried 7 wide receivers into the season, and after recent roster moves, they are hovering around 6 or 7 again. It's a fluid situation. Some of the younger guys might end up on the practice squad. John Giles is still battling for a spot too, and he could easily land on the practice squad if he does not crack the main roster. And let's not forget, they also signed another undrafted free agent wide receiver after the draft. The competition is going to be fierce, and the same applies to the tight end room. Every practice rep, every preseason snap is going to be critical. Coaches are watching everything: blocking assignments, route running, effort and special teams drills. Special teams might actually be one of the best ways for Dupree to make a name for himself early on. Tight ends who can contribute on kickoff and punt units always have a better chance of sticking around. And given his size and athleticism, Dupree could be a real asset in that phase of the game. Looking ahead, the real battle will begin in training camp. That is when you separate the prospects from the players who are ready to contribute right now. CJ Dupree's combination of size, strength, intelligence, and versatility gives him a real chance to be in the conversation. There's still a ton of work to do, no doubt about that. His receiving game needs to take a step forward. His hands need to become more consistent, and he has to show that he can win against NFL caliber defenders. But the foundation is there. And with the right coaching and mindset, there's no reason to believe he cannot become a solid contributor for the Patriots. And honestly, stories like this are part of what makes the NFL so fascinating. Every year, undrafted free agents defy the odds and turn into legitimate stars. It is rare, but it happens. And even if a player does not become a superstar, finding a reliable role player who can fill multiple roles is incredibly valuable. In a league where injuries pile up and depth is constantly tested, having a player like Dupree who can step into multiple roles provides a ton of value. I am genuinely excited to follow his journey. It is clear he has a long way to go, but there is something about his game, his background, and his mentality that makes me think he could be one of those guys who just sticks around, keeps grinding, and eventually earns a real spot. It might not happen overnight, but in the NFL, patience often pays off. When you take a step back and look at everything, the competition on the roster, the opportunities available, the skills Dupree brings to the table, it is easy to see why there's a buzz around him. Will he make the active roster out of camp? Maybe, maybe not. But even if he starts on the practice squad, the important thing is being in the building, getting reps, learning the system, and putting yourself in position to be called up when an opportunity arises. That is the journey for so many young players in the league. Stay ready. Keep improving. Be the guy that coaches can trust when a need arises. For CJ Dupree, the potential is there. Now it's about doing the hard work every single day to make that potential a reality. No matter what happens, I'll be watching closely because this is the kind of underdog story that makes football so special. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a stunning move that has rocked the NFL landscape, Tyreek Hill, the explosive wide receiver known for his blazing speed and dynamic playmaking, has officially joined the New England Patriots. The trade, which marks one of the biggest surprises of the offseason, sees Hill leave the Miami Dolphins after a successful 2-year stint and head to the Patriots in what promises to be a game-changing acquisition for Bill Belichick's squad. Hill's departure from the Dolphins had been the subject of intense speculation throughout the offseason. Known as one of the most dangerous weapons in the league, his ability to stretch the field and create mismatches was a key component in Miami's offense. Despite his incredible individual success, including multiple Pro Bowl selections and a Super Bowl victory with the Kansas City Chiefs, Hill's future in Miami seemed uncertain due to the team's ongoing roster adjustments and strategic shifts under head coach Mike McDaniel. For the Dolphins, trading Hill was a decision that shocked many, but one that gives the franchise significant flexibility in terms of cap space and future draft picks. While Hill was undoubtedly a top-tier player, his departure could open the door for other emerging stars to step into the limelight. Miami has long been searching for a balanced offense, and this move might signal a new direction for the team as they seek to build around quarterback Tua Tagovailoa with a more diverse receiving core. On the other hand, the Patriots are looking to bolster their offensive unit, which has been in need of a true playmaker. Head coach Bill Belichick, known for his defensive prowess and his ability to build competitive teams, has often struggled to find the right offensive rhythm since the departure of Tom Brady. With the addition of Hill, New England now has a true deep threat capable of stretching defenses and providing quarterback Mac Jones with a versatile weapon in the passing game. Hill's arrival in New England adds a new dimension to an offense that has struggled to find consistent firepower. His presence will not only take the pressure off other Patriots receivers, but also open up opportunities for the team's running game, as defenses will have to account for his incredible speed and ability to break open a game in an instant. Furthermore, Hill's experience as a Super Bowl champion brings a championship pedigree to the Patriots locker room, something that could prove invaluable as they aim to compete with the league's elite teams. For Hill, this move represents a new chapter in his career. After playing the first part of his career in Kansas City, where he became one of the most feared receivers in the NFL, and then spending a brief yet successful time with Miami, Hill will now be tasked with helping the Patriots return to their former glory. If he can stay healthy and continue to perform at the high level he is known for, Tyreek Hill has the potential to elevate the Patriots' offense to new heights and make an immediate impact in their pursuit of another Super Bowl title. This trade not only reshapes the landscape of the AFC, but also sets the stage for what could be a thrilling season ahead for both the Dolphins and the Patriots. As the NFL offseason continues to unfold, all eyes will be on Tyreek Hill as he takes his talents to New England, where expectations have never been higher. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.